Hi, hello. Welcome to Knit LA. My name is Andrea and I love to talk about knitting and wool and yarn and all the things related, including the incredibly beautiful community that is attached to all of it. So if this is your first time here, I warmly welcome you into this space. It's all knitting, pretty much, occasionally crochet. You know, it's all my love language. So if that's what you're here for, I'm so glad. And I hope you'll introduce yourself in the comments if you're new here. To those of you who have been around, I thank you so much for returning. It's all about community for me here. Everything that I talk about is truly from my own lived experience, and I don't get paid by anyone or gifts from any products that I might talk about here. So it's just all coming from my own experience. Yeah, so happy fall. It's actually been really cold in Los Angeles in the mornings, and then around 2:30 or 3, it's like 87 degrees, which is nuts. But I think it's actually shifting a little because it's been pretty foggy and cold this weekend. Amazing baseball game. I'm sorry, my dear Canadian friends. But that was a very exciting World Series for us here, Dodger fans. Anyway, I thought today what I would talk about are a few little things from my incredible trip to New York, sheep and wool. But rather than like sharing all the things I purchased, which I will do a little bit of, I thought I'm gonna contextualize it by just sharing with you my intentions for that wool, because I really went into the weekend with kind of very tunnel vision. Like, I really wanted to know exactly what I was looking for. I know how easy it is to be tempted by all the things. And so, and I surely do not need any more yarn. In fact, I really truly said to myself, no sweater quantities, because I still have sweater quantities from last year's Rhinebeck, maybe even the one prior. So for me, I just really wanted to have some parameters. So, and I do. So and it worked out, and I found exactly what I wanted, which was so exciting. And I did get a couple of little special things, which I would like to share as well. But let's just talk about the elephant in the room, which is my KOIVUA or KOIVUA, not sure of the exact pronunciation, but is this incredible sweater. Not a new pattern by Caitlin Hunter, but I decided to do mine all in Nutidin, and you'll forgive me because I'm not going to pronounce the names of the colors because it's just kind of a little bit of a mouth trip, but I will include everything I talk about in detail in the show notes. So basically maybe it does look the color that it is, but I was grossly off gauge, obviously. I think I went for the size 3, and I definitely wound up with a bigger size. But you know, if you know, that I embrace kind of the bigness. And while I do not encourage anyone to not gauge swatch and those kind of things, and I did gauge swatch, which is so bizarre, but it still came out way too big. But I will say that sometimes, and I've been really discovering this a lot lately, which is these just kind of happy accidents. But anyway, this one is 100% Nutidin. I held all strands, let's see. This is the plate of the Nutidin, And it might be showing up white or kind of a white color, but in fact, it's the palest celery green. And I held it one strand, single strand, along with a strand of this yarn that I found a couple of years ago in Park City. And this is Rowan, and it's a cotton alpaca. It's called Alpaca Classic, 25 grams. And it's got a really beautiful, beautiful strand. So I held these two double for the main color. And then, oh, I just have a tiny bit of this with me because I can't actually find the rest of it. This very chocolatey chocolate brown, which is the contrast color that makes these beautiful feathers. And the funny story about this sweater is that it has been languishing. Like, I think I started it a year ago at least. And I don't know, for some reason, I was just kind of like, by the time I got to this section, like the body section, I put it away. But I'll stand up and show you. Okay, it's very, very big. In fact, oh my God, it's like wearing the most luxurious blanket. But I love it so much. And it's very lightweight, but very warm and breathable. The pattern is just impeccable. And I just think Caitlin Hunter is, the way she puts together color work motifs, her inspiration, I find it, and I feel like maybe I'm a little late to that game, although one of my first colorwork sweaters, or my second colorwork sweater, was the Alyeska, and I had the most fun with that sweater, and I learned so much. And I'm currently actually working on a sweater, which I will talk about later date when it's more fully formed. Anyway, I just think she makes the most beautiful patterns, and there's just so many ways to interpret a colorwork motif and ways to really make these sweaters your very own. So KOIVUA, Nutidin, I pretty much, I want to say I followed the pattern, except I'm not totally certain I followed the entire bodywork chart because it was getting so big that I may have stopped, you know, I may have only done like 2/3 of the body chart. But anyway, I highly recommend this pattern. It is so much fun to do color work. It's just such a reward every row, and it's very, very hard to put down. So this is my KOIVUA, and I also completed this sweater, which those of you who've been around for a while, obviously you will recognize both of these sweaters. This is my, oh, it's a little wrinkled, SELENE sweater. By Ventzel. And this was a really fun project because I just kind of took all these scraps and made up my own colorwork motif. For those of you that do know the pattern, you will know that it's actually quite it's only got 2 colors in the pattern. I'm gonna try and just show it without giving too much away. But you see, it's just like a really beautiful, generous yoke, and she does it in 2 different colors, which is very striking, of course, very striking. So pretty in the white and the black, and I think she also does a blue. For this one, I did do the size 3, and it definitely it fits me a little bit closer to the body. I think I was paying a little bit more attention, I don't know, to the gauge, and but still having just so much fun. So again, I just did sort of the colors the way I wanted at the moment, whatever was sort of calling me. And then for the main body, which I cannot recommend this yarn enough, this is absolutely, I mean, I don't know if I can say my favorite yarn, but I'm gonna say my favorite yarn for sweaters, well, and shawls, is Bare Naked Wools. Bare Naked Wools is run by Ann Hansen, who is also an incredible designer. And this is Better Breakfast Fingering, and it's a blend of merino and alpaca. 450 yards for 4 ounces, 115 grams. And it's, this Better Breakfast blend comes in DK and worsted. This lot, they called the color Waffle. Now all of these are natural colors, natural blends, so they don't do any dyeing. And so every lot is kind of a little bit different. And I have more of this from another year that is slightly different, slightly lighter. But I held one strand of the Better Breakfast Fingering with a strand of this Very Luxe Varanita from Ching Fiber. And the combination of these two yarns, I don't know if you can really tell, but it is so soft and so drapey and so pretty. I mean, I just think the color of the body of the sweater is just really, really pretty. And I'm gonna take some photos of me wearing this and hopefully be able to either put them on my Ravelry page or something where you can get a closer look. But Selene sweater, this is not the super Selene. I know Anna Ventzel has a second version of this pattern that is with a very chunky, fluffy yarn, which would be super fun, especially right now with winter coming up. So both of these sweaters were laying dormant with very little left to execute on. And the thing that really got me going to finish, because I finished them literally in 2 days, is this behemoth that I'm going to share. I am participating or participated in the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along MUSIKAL this year, and I didn't complete it within the month, and that's for a few reasons. I did go to Rhinebeck, and so I got a little off. I didn't bring it with me because I know that these kind of require, you know, some focus, and I knew I was not going to be able to focus while knitting. So I got a little behind, but then I also was questioning my choices and even whether or not I even like this shawl. So I decided to take a break. And when I took that break, which was the best thing I could have done, I was like, Andrea, you cannot cast on one more thing because I have a lot of things that are on needles right now. You cannot cast on another thing. You have got to finish. Just go finish a couple things, then come back to the shawl. And so just restricting myself to only working on works in progress was great. And I needed that. And then when I was going through all my, you know, I have a big basket full of projects and I'm looking through the stuff and like so many things, like these two sweaters, all I needed to do was like bind off. That's what this needed, a bind off around the body. This needed a couple more inches of ribbing on the body. So, you know, that I'm not going to forget this experience because, you know, there are times when, especially in things like this, where you're really like, I'm trying very hard to like focus and achieve a certain goal, get it done in a certain amount of time. But if I have feelings that are conflicting, then I am absolutely not beholden to this project, you know, and I have so much time, all the time in the world to finish the shawl, which I'm going to show you right now. I'm sure you've seen these all over the internet. I'm at kind of a shite place for sharing this shawl because I can't hold it all the way out because I'm partially on a section. So I have worked sections 1, which are these beautiful scallops right here, and then the next part, section 2, are these beautiful wavy short rows and some lace here. And then I'm currently on the second part of the 3rd clue, which is the one that kind of has like not stumped me, but like kind of, I don't know. I didn't love it. I don't love it. I'm still not in love with it, but I'm still moving forward because I want to, because I'm so far, you know. I feel like I really should. So it kind of dramatically shifts from this like really like wavy, soft. Oh my God, what just happened? Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my God, something really bad just happened. I think unraveled. Okay, it's gonna be okay. Whoa, did I just do that to myself? Okay, look, I just broke a scallop. Okay, I'll deal with that. Anyway, my struggle was with clue 3. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. So clue 3 has this very abrupt, kind of like Harlequin section, which I just felt was so jarring. And I'm sure that's part of the point. Like, you know, he has this vision and it's totally asymmetrical. I don't mind the asymmetry. It just didn't feel, I can't explain it. It just didn't feel right. And it still doesn't. But now I'm on to the second part of the 3rd section, which are these like woven pieces. I'm kind of liking it better. I threw in some other colors because, oh God, I'm getting really sick of these colors. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that after this. Anyway, tell me, if you guys are working on it, because if anyone else is doing it, because I'm doing it with a couple of my friends locally here, and it's, yeah, I think everybody has mixed feelings about it. But I feel like because I'm 3/4 of the way through, I'm just gonna keep going at my own pace. And if I really get tired of it, well, I can just finish a sweater or 2. So yeah, that's that. This is also a wonderful way to stash dive. I am using all skeins of wool that I will include in the show notes below, but off the top of my head, I'm using Pearl Soho, turmeric, which is such a gorgeous color. There's the turmeric. I've paired that with some, this is, I think it's called Maiden from Ritual Dyes. And I think this was a flock colorway from 2 years ago. And I'm also using, a beautiful skein that I got in Paris at Lil Weasel in the Marais. And, a gorgeous, gorgeous, really deep, dark eggplant color from Les Garçons. I will include all of that in the show notes. So some other quick FOs, and I can't remember, I don't think I've shared these yet, but I did a couple hats while I was waiting to cast on the MCAL. This was with the Plumpy yarn that I actually bought to make the Plumpy cowl, I think, from Andrea Mowry, but I never did. This is a very cute hat pattern. This is, you can do a triple fold or a double fold, but the triple is very cute. And I think this is in the colorway Stay Ready. It's super soft. This is called the Georgia Beanie. And let me see, I did put it in my Ravelry. Georgia Beanie by Skeinny Dipping. I basically did a search for the yarn and some things came up. And this was one of them, and I thought it was so cute. I only used one skein because I didn't have two, but I think this would be a lot better with two skeins because it is a pretty short on the crown. So I might have to give this away to someone with a smaller head than mine. I did another hat that was such an enjoyable knit. This is by Moonstruck Knits, Natasha Hornby, and this is called KHIONE. KHIONE hat. And this is this incredibly gorgeous dip stitch, which I had never done before. And this is a very cool construction. So basically, it's also triple brim, and you knit it in such a way that you start with the brim, obviously, and then you flip it inside out so that when you wind up at the end flipping it, it's just like a beautiful kind of reversal of the dip stitch. And this was such a fun knit. I really, really recommend this pattern. I used also some stash yarn, which was the Wandering Flock Singles in Dusty Blue. And I paired it with a silk mohair from Isayer, which I think was called Silver Sage. And let me tell you something about that mohair. Well, first of all, the singles also from Wandering Flock are incredibly soft. They're so nice. And the mohair, which I don't always love mohair on my head. Some mohair can be really, really scratchy. I think this is the softest, like kind of commercial mohair I have ever felt. The Isayer brand. So I love that, and I will definitely use that again for projects because it's such, they have really pretty colors and it is so soft. So if you need a hat, I seriously think you should make this hat because it is so pretty and so engaging and so fun. And I could even watch something while making it. And that's saying a lot because, you know, boing boing brain, but I really loved making this. I also made an OOEY GOOEY cowl, which was also super fun. This is a pattern I'm sure everybody knows by Andrea Mowry. And what can I say? I had no intention of making this, except that I saw a kit that Moondrake put on their website or on Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, that is so gorgeous. This, oh, what color is this? Ranch something? Ghost Ranch. And it was just so saturated and rich, and I don't know, maybe I just never really paid attention to that color, but, and then it was paired with her beautiful Fua in this, maybe blue sage colorway. And it's really nice. This is a Mobius cowl. Let me see how I wanna wear this. Oh yeah, so it's a Mobius cowl, which means you're knitting in the round and then you seam it up the back. It's pretty invisible. It's really, really pretty. It's a very pretty pattern. I definitely like the cowl a little bit more than the sweater. For me, I find it more wearable as a cowl than as a sweater, but it's very soft. These yarns are incredible. I wanted to also share, because I bought my mom for her birthday a kit, the same kit, just different colors from Moondrake, and she just finished hers, and I'm going to be sewing it together for her, but you have got to see these colors. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, is that the most like, what? These colors are stunning. So this is, oh, she doesn't have the ball band. I don't know spin cycle colors enough to know what this is. So, but this is the color, and this is the Fua Fua. And I just need to help, you know, seam it up for her, but I just think this is so stunning. Wow, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah. So these are the ooey gooey cowls. I mean, 1,000 and people and their mother, and they're like thousands of people have made this sweater and made these cowls, and it's just unbelievable. That was one thing that was kind of overwhelming at Rhinebeck was, you know, they have this photo on the hill, and it's kind of amazing to see all these people who have knit the exact same pattern and interpreted it in all their own different ways. It was unbelievable. Like, I've never seen so many people. I don't know if Andrea Mowry herself has ever seen so many people. Anyway, ooey gooey cowl. So those are all my finished projects. And I thought what I would do now is just try and go through some of the things that I bought and my intentions. And I guess there are some Stephen West shawls that I really, really want to make. So I went to Rhinebeck with a list of a few projects, and on my list was I think it's called the honeycomb shawl, and it's the large one. I think he has a couple of versions of that, and the honeycomb stitch was one that I did in another, I think it was called the Winter Lights shawl, and it's very enjoyable. And this is just like a big, huge shawl doing all of that. And I knew I wanted a gradient. So he shows it with a brand, I think it's called Billiam. But I knew I wanted to buy the gradient in person. And so I went to this booth in particular. It's called Fiber Optic Yarn. And they have very just stunning colorways of gradients. And what is so cool is that they actually show everything knit up. And so I got these skeins, and these are called Wild Thing. And the colors go from, like, obviously this kind of limey green to raspberry to, there's like, I mean, look at all this color in there. There's orange, rust, pale greens. It's really gorgeous. So I got 2 skeins to make the large honeycomb shawl. And then, of course, I was on the hunt for part of the honeycomb shawl. So this is kind of the interior of the honeycombs, the gradient, and you need a contrast color that creates actually those honeycomb shapes that are kind of a textured, beautiful stitches. And I am still a little bit in the dark as to what color that is going to be. And here are some choices that I've pulled. This is Sonder Yarn, Halo in Extra Virgin. Just such a cool, gorgeous green color. I thought that might look really nice. I found this at Rhinebeck that I thought could be a great fit. This is from North Bay Fiber. I've never seen their yarn in person. This is the colorway Mallard. And it is really gorgeous, really gorgeous, really gorgeous. So that could be in contentions. I hope you can see these colors. And North Bay Fiber, it's 100% Cormo wool. This base is elemental fingering, and oh wow, 465 yards. So that would be, I think, plenty. So that's a contender as well. This is also North Bay Fiber Elemental, and this is also a contender. It's called Sand Point, and it's kind of got this like very honey, waxy kind of color, which I thought would be kind of interesting. This is a possibility. This is also something I got from Sea Change Fibers, and this is called the Elwa Fingering, and this is actually a very special base. So it's called Brick House is the colorway. I mean, it is stunning, this yarn. 437 yards to 100 grams. This is 75% gray BFL, 25% airy silk. And oh man, does that feel good. So this is a color that definitely is very close to a color that exists in the fiber optic yarn. So that's another possibility. And then last but not least, this was a new to me yarn, and I could not resist this yarn because I also thought this might be cool as a companion. So this is from Red Stag Fiber, and their yarn was so gorgeous. I got this, I think, at Indie Untangled, actually. Manor Collection, Polworth Masham, and it's called Gilded, and it is their Yorkshire Sport, and that color is just holy smokes. So, you know, I kind of like that together. Yeah. So kind of, you know, this is like the star. This is what I went for, and I actually found it. So many of the booths were so crowded that you could not even enter the booths. So I don't really love like those kind of crowds. And I knew I wanted to go to this booth, Fiber Optics. They are from, where are they from? Actually, I don't know. Kimber Baldwin Design LLC, Unified Gradient, Cashmere Yarn, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Each of these skeins has 470 yards. I cannot wait to cast this on. So that's going to be for the large honeycomb shawl. Another thing that I went shopping for, sorry, I can't seem to find my, is the vest number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I really want to knit a vest, and I just wanted something cool that's like gonna look good, and you know, I could wear multi-season. I don't own a vest. Like, have I ever worn a vest? I have. I've worn a vest, but that was so long ago. So this is a new to me yarn. The company is a Yarn Story. I believe they are from Bath, England. And she had a booth at a woolen affair. And their yarn was really absolutely just out of this world stunning. The colorway, like this color, it's called Opus, is the dye lot, and the color is Hickory. And it's just so dark. It's so dark. And I think this is what I want to make a vest out of. So this is the fingering weight yarn, I believe. And I think that the vest number 1 is either a DK or worsted, but I figured, oh no, this is a sport weight. So I figured I could get the sport weight and maybe hold it with something. This is Argentinian Merino Baby Alpaca blend, a 70-30. And so I think I was thinking maybe of either a silk mohair or just a lace weight strand of something, kind of to give it real structure. But this yarn is so soft, my God. And I had never heard of this company before. And it is absolutely gorgeous. The third project that I went looking for, that I also found yarn for at a woolen affair, is an older pattern of Andrea Mowry's called Plumpy. And it's a really luscious brioche shawl. And I knew that I wanted to find some interesting colors for it. So I'm gonna make the large shawl, which calls for 4 skeins of DK. And so let me show you what I found at the Wandering Flock. Oh my God. First of all, you guys, their yarn is so gorgeous. And it's so much fun to see all of this yarn in person. I know I say this every time I go to a festival, but you know, we've got some local yarn shops here in Los Angeles, but in terms of like these really special, smaller kind of, you know, brands of yarn, it's just, I just see it on the internet and on my computer. So it's really hard to know exactly what they feel like, what they look like, but these are the colors I got. God, you guys, this is so fucking gorgeous. Sorry, didn't mean to F-bomb, but this is all Wandering Flock. This is their DK weight, 230 yards a piece. This is the color Citrine. This is the color Highlighter. Oh, highlighter. I'm trying to hide my face. Highlighter. This is the color Red Rust, which I've been so curious about. Whoa, really gorgeous. And then this color is in their fingering weight, but I kind of figured I could hold it double. This is Alexandrite. They didn't have it in DK, but I'm so excited for this shawl, you guys. Plumpy, plumpy, plumpy. Okay. 3 more things to share. Okay, this was not planned. I think this was at Indie Untangled. My mom and I were just, you know, perusing, and 29 Bridges is a yarn brand that I am familiar with because they actually carried some of this yarn at one of my local yarn shops many years ago. In fact, they might still. And so I knew about the brand. However, I had no idea that they produced the variety and diversity of colorways that they do. And I was just super enchanted by all of their colors. They are so incredibly gifted. And I know that there are two sisters whose podcast I think is just darling, who I met. Oh. They were promoting this yarn brand with some Stephen West shawls that they had made out of kits from this brand. You probably know who I'm talking about because they're very popular on YouTube. I just love sister energy. So in that booth, I just could not get over this yarn. And it's their merino worsted, 215 yards. It's 100% superwash merino, and the colorway is Pietersite. But I just have to take the tag off and like show you all what this looks like. I don't even know if you can really see how incredible this color is. It's really hard. I can't see if I'm covering my face, obviously. It looks like a tapestry that you would hang like on your wall. It's so beautiful. So I have no idea what I'm gonna make with this, but I couldn't, I just thought it was so stunning and I really wanted to bring it home. Sunday, I went to the Jill Draper Make Stuff event, which was probably one of my most favorite experiences of the whole weekend. I managed to connect with lots of my knitter friends, and it was just such a chill event, and there was like beautiful snacks, and it was right on the Hudson River, and it was a blustery, beautiful day. It was just amazing. And I'm gonna take a sip. While I was there, it was very hard to choose like yarn because everything was freaking gorgeous. But they had this special yarn. I think it was a collaboration with another, and I cannot remember, and so this is terrible, but the base is called High Plains. And I know it's a collaboration with a designer whose name is escaping me. This is the colorway Scotch Pine. And I want to tell you the sweetest little thing. This color was chosen for me by my friend Carmen from Knitting a Good Yarn podcast. I wanted to buy this base. It's obviously, it is so soft, and let me tell you what it is. Well, it's 100% superfine merino wool, 365 yards. I guess that makes it a sport. It is so soft. Anyway, it was super sweet because Carmen, she just grabbed this color and said, you need to have this. So I'm always going to have that very cherished memory. So Carmen, thank you so much, because you're right. I did have to have this, and this is one of my absolute favorite colors in the whole wide world. It's called Scotch Pine. There's a lot of blue in this. It's very kind of emerald. It's super amazing. Thank you, Carmen. I love you. Okay, very last, but certainly not the least. I want to share, okay. So I have a spinning wheel, and I have spun, and I have loved it, but I just don't understand how people have time for spinning, for knitting, for sewing, which is like another thing that I'm like, God, I want to sew. I just don't know how everybody does it all. And maybe it's just not time for me to do it all right now, and that's fine. So walking through one of the barns, this kind of caught my eye. She had this huge basket. I'm gonna try and remember who this is from. Oh no, see, it doesn't have a tag. It just has a sheep. Okay, I can't remember who this was from, but she basically had this giant basket in the center of the stall with all of this. I'm gonna show you. Look at this. Hi, look at this. Okay, I don't know if you can see that it also has sparkle in it. It has all kinds of gorgeous colors. And it's basically was sold in just like handfuls. You just sort of like grabbed the handfuls. Super soft. I mean, everywhere you turn it, it's just like one thing is prettier than the next. So I just, and look, there's like little locks of cutiness. Anyway, so I just reached in, they have plastic bags. I just grabbed, I think it says I grabbed 13 ounces. No, it was $13.40. I have no idea how many ounces that is, but it's not a lot. I've never spun from these kind of like just chubby handfuls before. But I'm definitely going to be putting it in my calendar. So reserving special time so that I can spin with this beautiful blend of fiber. So that was super fun. So yeah, I had a blast. I had such a blast at Rhinebeck. And while I was very overwhelmed this year with how many people were there, and honestly, even if I wanted to like shop and look in people, like the booths on Saturday were so crowded that, and I can't really shop like that. It's just like way overstimulating. So I loved a woolen affair. Like that was a very special, smaller, ticketed event. So, you know, they kind of had control of the numbers, and that was another exquisite location. It was like an old brickyard right on the Hudson. What a glorious day it was. And there was like this huge barge that came through. I mean, it was like quintessential New York, upstate, fall. Just could not have been better. That was a really amazing event. And we went on Friday during the day. We also went to India Untangled, as I mentioned, and we had never done that before. And the Jill Draper event on Sunday, which I highly recommend. It was so chill. It was so beautiful. I really like her wool. Her wool is her color sense is just incredible. I got to see so many people that I truly, truly love with all my heart. And that's really what makes those weekends so special. I go with my mom and my sister. We stay with my cousin, who has always so generously given us his gorgeous house in Salt Point for the weekend. This year in particular was so special because he was there and his daughters were there, and it was just a completely fulfilling, beautiful weekend. It was so special. Yeah, we had a wonderful trip, just an absolutely wonderful trip. And I came home with lots of inspiration. I have the projects that I mentioned. I have some shawls that are on my list. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I feel very excited about the knitting as usual. But really, it's nice to have, I know what I want to knit. I know. And sometimes I really have no idea. But I have some plans and I'm really excited for those plans. And there's something else I really wanted to share, a couple of things that I really appreciate when other podcasters do this. So this has nothing to do with Rhinebeck, but these are tools that I use that I thought I would share because I use them for long enough and have such strong feelings about them positively that I just want to share. So the first tool I want to share, I feel like is one of the most brilliant things I've ever come across. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because it's clear, but this is a gauge ruler. And it is a clear plexi gauge ruler. And then they call it a quick gauge. It's from Twice Sheared Sheep. And basically, like, I don't know, I find it very tricky measuring gauge these days. And I don't know if it's just because of my eyesight or I'm working more with like really dark yarn. And so it's just like, I don't know, I'm really struggling. And I got this gauge ruler like, I don't know, earlier this year. And it works like a dream. I want to figure out a way to show this so that I should have brought a piece of paper, but. So it has all the gauges that are mapped out, and you basically set this clear plexi gauge ruler, which is not a ruler, but it says like, here's what 6.5 stitches per inch is. So you lay this down on top of your knitting, and you basically figure it out by moving it around. This is so genius, and I'm gonna link it below. Okay, so that's one tool I find I cannot live without. The other thing is, I thought I would share my favorite needles. It depends on the project, and like right now for my COWL shawl, which is massive, I am using a chock needle because it has a 60-inch cable. And I have it, but I am using, and these are new to me, Takumi Pro needles. I love wooden needles so much. And these Takumi Pro circulars are just my absolute favorite needles to use. They have a really nice sharp tip. I find they don't get dull. They don't go dull. They have a lovely like cable that just like the needle just spins, and there's no joint, there's no catch at the joint. These are absolutely my total favorite needles. So they're called Takumi. I'll show you. They're from Clover. I use the Takumi Pro as well, and they are very sharp and amazing. And actually, I'm going to another knitting fair actually it's called the SoCal Fiber Festival later this month, and I'm so excited to go. And last year they had a whole like Clover, that's where I found them actually, the Takumi Pros was at a booth at that festival, and those have changed my life. I only make hats using them. I use them for sleeves. They're just the most perfect tension for me, and I'm a very loose knitter, and so sometimes the chock, my gauge, I have a really hard time getting gauge using chock these days, or I guess in the last couple of years. So I love using the wooden needles. And if you love using wooden needles but don't love kind of the bluntness on the ends, these Takumi Pros are sharp. They are so great, and they don't wear down as quickly. And I don't know if that's because they're coated with something. I'm not really sure. Bamboo. Yeah, it just says bamboo, nylon. Anyway, I think they're spectacular. And then last but not least, I know I tried sharing this before, but I wanted to show a collection of stitch markers that I got from Bed of Roses that I made into a necklace. So I've talked about this before, that I loved these stitch markers so much. And I was like, these have to be on a necklace. And so I made them into a necklace. And I think even, I can't do this like for some reason right now, but I just got a little leather cord. And all of these stitch markers individually, like there are stars, there are, let me see if I can kind of like spread them out a little bit. There's an initial, my initials, ugh, so aggro. My initials, there's this beautiful stone, little stars, little abstract shapes. It's just so pretty. And I totally wear this as a necklace. Let me see. Don't look at my old neck. Anyway, I love these. I just think they're so pretty. And I think she might even be selling them as necklaces now, which is cool. Okay. All right. I am so happy to have been here. And I really want to tell you all how much I appreciate you, how much I enjoy hearing from you, whether it's here on YouTube or on Instagram. It's just such an important part of my life. And, you know, I think all the goodness and kindness and creativity and positive energy that I feel in this community, it just makes it easier to get through the very challenging times that we're living in. It's such bright spots, and weekends like Rhinebeck definitely are such bright spots. And it's not because of what you acquire at all. That is not it. It's really like just being able to hug the people that you have these very connective relationships with through messaging and, you know, and in real life, it's really, those connections are real. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's so special. So anyway, I just want to hear from all of you. What are you knitting? What are you making? What's going on in your making life? I hope everybody is healthy and safe and enjoying the turn of the weather. Anyway, I'm sending everybody all my love. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me what you're up to. Yeah. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Okay. Mwah. Bye.